Hey everyone, this is Jim from Fuji Spray Sunless, and today we're going to go over an applicator tune-up. So what you might find is after cleaning your applicator, certain areas of the gun or applicator may be sluggish. And by sluggish, I mean like maybe your trigger kind of sticks because the needle's not passing through quite right. Maybe the fluid control, kind of feels a little sticky, not like it did when it came from the manufacturer. Maybe rotating the air cap on your gun just isn't as smooth as it once was. So what we're going to do is we're going to disassemble this as if you've just cleaned it and you're putting it back together. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on where to lubricate so you bring it right back to the moment you received it from the factory. First, we're going to disassemble it. As always, remove the air cap first. We're going to remove that collar, set it to the side. We're going to remove the air cap, set that to the side. Next, we're going to remove the needle. The reason we remove the needle first is because if we remove the fluid nozzle first, that can cause some issues by scraping against the tip of the needle and it can actually damage it. So first, remove the fluid control. We go from the back. The needle spring is going to come out as well. Make sure you don't lose that like I almost did there. Needle spring, pop that there. Next, engage the trigger and you're going to see it shoot out the back. Just like that. This is probably a little bit, so it's already been lubricated. I'm just going to take my shirt and carefully pull that out the back there. Use a paper towel or a rubber glove. That comes out, put that to the side carefully. Next, we're going to go with the fluid nozzle. So, fluid nozzle should come off pretty easy if you cleaned it before. I'm just going to loosen that. As I mentioned in the previous video, if it's right out of the box and you're going to clean it and disassemble it and you're having issues, what I like to do is I lay the gun on its side so that the brass nipple here is facing me. I'm going to put it on its side like that. I'm going to take my applicator wrench and I'll put it onto the cutout. And I'm going to use my body to sort of push forward. I find that's a little bit easier. Now, these wrenches, with these cutouts, they can kind of dig into your palm. What you can do too is if you have like a hand towel or a face cloth, wrap that around and I find it's a lot easier in your hand. So we've loosened the fluid nozzle. Now I'm just going to take it off my hand, keeping it facing forward so nothing falls out on me. I should mention, do not do this near a sink because if you lose any of these pieces down the sink, you probably won't get them back. Next, we have the diffuser. I'm just going to pop that out. Now, I could go as far as taking out the black divider in there, but for this purpose, you don't really need to because of what I'm about to just say. So, why do things stick? Well, we've removed the factory lubricant from a really, really good clean, and we need to re-lubricate these components. Now, a little lubricant goes a long way, and what you want to focus on is areas where metal passes through metal or plastic, or threads. So where a thread sort of engages with another bit of metal. So what we can do, if you have Fuji's 3100 cleaning kit, you can use the machining oil we supply, which is a standard 10W30 machining oil, or, which my marketing manager provided us, a comically sized bottle of Vaseline. This I actually like to prefer because we already use Vaseline on our bodies, and it's a little bit more viscous, which means it stays in its place more. Now I'll show you the lubricant here. It's kind of, this one's not open, so that's not going to help, but it's a lower viscosity. So this is more like your maple syrup. This is kind of like butter. So what I like to do is I'm going to get a Q-tip so I don't get my hands all greasy. You can use paper towels, Q-tips. If you have a rubber glove, that also works too. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the fluid needle and we're just going to dip our Q-tip into our miniature Vaseline here and an inch down from the tip. We're just going to sort of spread that lubricant around. Just like that. And when I say it's viscous, I mean, now that I've put it on, it's not going anywhere. I'm going to set that to the side. Next, I'm going to take our our fluid control, once again, into the little comically sized container of Vaseline. And we're just going to lubricate the threads. Now, you don't have to go all the way around because as you tighten that into the gun body, it's going to actually self-spread. So we'll set that to the side. Same thing on the fluid nozzle. Into the mini bottle of Vaseline and right onto the fluid. Now this, just make sure you don't get any Q-tip strings in there. Just going to pop that in there again. And I like to go on one side and then the other. And just like that, it's lubricated. Next thing, we're going to set that to the side there. What I like to do is I like to take my gun body, final time into the teeny tiny bottle of Vaseline, set that to the side. I'm going to go right at north, right at south, east, if I'm facing the right way, and then west. And that way, when you tighten the collar, it's going to spread that all the way around. So this, we're just going to toss it to the side. And now we're going to reassemble our spray gun. So first, the diffuser, that's going to go in there. Next, we're going to take that fluid nozzle, which is nicely lubricated. And already you're going to see that when it goes in, it's just like buttery smooth. So we're going to tighten that there. Nice thing about putting the Vaseline on the threads of the fluid nozzle is that if you don't put it in tight enough, the fluid nozzle, which happens, that Vaseline can sometimes act as a barrier from solution creeping up the threads. So you should always tighten it really well. So we're just going to tighten that up here. And you're going to find now the next time you go to remove that, it's going to be even easier because it's properly lubricated. Finally, we're going to take our our air cap. We're going to pop that on there. We're going to take our collar. And like I said, because we put it at north, south, east, and west, when we tighten that, it's just going to spread that all around. Super smooth engagement. So then we're going to set to the vertical position so we get that horizontal fan. Next, we're going to install the needle. So the needle has been well lubricated, once again, 1 inch from the tip. And as we pass it through here, it's going to pass through the spindle, the needle packing. And as we do that, it's actually going to be lubricating those internal components that otherwise you wouldn't be able to get at. Finally, the needle spring, pop that in there. And the fluid control, which has also been lubricated on the threads. Now, if your hands are a little slippery from that lubricant, it may be a little bit tough to get this in, so you might be able to wash your hands prior to doing this. But as you put that in, just threads in very smooth there. Final thing you're going to do, don't tighten the fluid control all the way because you want to get some movement out of the trigger here. But if you squeeze it a few times, let's just say 5 times, that's going to further push the lubricant all the way throughout the gun or the applicator and just properly lubricate those internals. So after doing that, this is what I like to call the tune-up. So you've cleaned your gun, you've removed all the the bronzers, the DHA, the tanning solution from your applicator, but you reapply the factory lubricant, so now it's nice and smooth and ready for your next tan. I hope this helps. This is Jim from Fuji Spray. If you do have any questions on how to perform this yourself, or if you kind of get a little lost along the way as you're doing it, give us a call, 1-800-650-0930, extension 2. Support@fujispray.com, and we can either troubleshoot you via email or we can set up a video call with any of our capable customer service folks that can guide you through this. Thank you so much. Have a great one.